You're watching The Green Machine, your home for Irish football news and nostalgia, and we're coming at you live here from the beautiful Lansdowne Road on a beautiful June afternoon / evening. Got a lot of seagulls around here. Hopefully one doesn't make me famous or infamous. But we're going to be with you for about the next 15 or 20 minutes. We're going to chat to you about the starting lineup, which has just been announced. I want to hear from you. If you have something to say about the Ireland team, I want to hear it from you here tonight. We are live. And as always, we want to hear from you. I've said that about 5 or 6 times now. And also, we will be live straight after, about 5 or so minutes after kickoff in this it's not really a must-win game for Steve McKennie. It's a must-win really, really, really well, convincingly game for Steve McKennie. Anyway, let's see what happens. But we're going to get into the starting lineup, which has just been announced in the last while. And here you have it. Gavin Mizuno in goal, no surprise there. Darragh O'Shea is back in the side with John Egan and Nathan Collins making up the back three. Left wing back James McLean making his 100th cap for the Republic of Ireland. He will captain the side. He starts as left wing back, and I believe Jason Knight is going to play as right wing back. Of course, we've Matt Doherty after his antics on Friday in Athens, sent off, and then of course Seamus Coleman, the actual captain, who is out injured at the moment. In midfield, we've got Josh Cullen, the linchpin of the Irish team. We also have Jason Knight will replace Jason Molumby, and we got Will Smallbone playing behind. Sorry, I've got that wrong, haven't I? Will Smallbone and Jamie McGrath will be playing in midfield with Evan Ferguson and the returning Michael Obafemi, who's back in the starting lineup. My apologies. See, it's all these numbers. I'm all get a bit confused. Anyway, so I'm going to put the starting lineup at the bottom. There you go. So you can digest that. Tell us what you think. I see some comments coming in there. We want to know. I want to hear from you. Right, next on the agenda. So, can Steve McKennie turn it around? This is a very, very delicate situation for the manager. It was all very down after Athens. First time really he's come under pressure from the Irish media, who seems to have been very generous to Kenny, very patient with Steve McKennie. Now, I've got this beautiful match day program, and normally I would read out the manager's notes to see what he says. However, there's not really much of a point with this one. See it there. Is because these notes were made, as he says here, to be fair, they were written on his way to Antalya, the now infamous warm weather camp in Turkey. So he says it himself, I don't know what's happened in Athens. So not really much of a point there talking about that because, well, it's not really current. However, what is current, we can get his thoughts at a press conference. It was a very spiky exchange between himself and journalist Philip Quinn. And this is what he had to say here. We've got a clip. We're going to play. It's from Irish Football Fan TV, courtesy of those guys over there. It's yesterday's press conference, and Philip Quinn basically stated that it's all been a bit shambolic under the manager. Have a look at this. Tell us what you think.
Shambolic. We've been out of every campaign that just started. This one is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, we're in the World Cup campaign and then we're in the Euro campaign.
Philip, be respectful with your question. Just be respectful with your question.
Yeah, no, it's about time we had a bit of respect from you, to be honest. I lack respect at times at press conferences. It shouldn't be tolerated. Should I mean, to be honest? It's absolutely terrible at times.
So what do you think of the players?
The players? I think the players get back from the cross the white line.
Do you believe in the players?
To get where?
Take this country in the major tournaments going forward? Do you believe in these players that were capable of doing that?
I think we are, yeah. I think the players are capable of doing that. And congratulations on your 100th cap.
Very uncomfortable scenes there in the press room at Abbottstown yesterday. What do you think? Tell us. Was he disrespectful? Is he being disrespectful to Stephen Kenny? He has been one of the more vociferous ones against Stephen Kenny, Philip Quinn. Or is Philip Quinn just doing his job and he's asking questions? I want to hear from you. Tell us what you think. And of course, if you can't get to us today, we are live later on, straight after the match here on YouTube and Facebook page. But very uncomfortable. And what did you make of James McLean? Maybe I'm reading into things a little bit, but just looked a bit. He wasn't really defending his manager too much. Maybe I'm reading into that a bit incorrectly, but it was just I just thought it was very, very strange. But he did kind of negate the situation a little bit. Not negate it. He neutralised the situation a bit. But uncomfortable scenes there. Tell us what you think there, guys. Anyway. Also, with tonight's game, we're playing Gibraltar. We should hopefully be getting a nice little victory tonight, but we don't know after what happened against Greece in Athens. So we've got a clip here. Nick had an interview with Jamie Bossia, who is Irish-born, played for Gibraltar. He was on the bench, I think, against Ireland in this very stadium a few years back. But he's going to give you a little insight on tonight's opposition, which is Gibraltar, and why. And it's very important you listen to this, because it might actually show why we could struggle tonight. Anyway, yet again, tell me what you think.
So I'm delighted to be joined by ex-Gibraltar international Jamie Bossio. Jamie won 12 caps for Gibraltar between 2015 and 2018. And there is an Irish link, Jamie, isn't there? Do you want to explain that to us?
Yeah, I was born in Dublin in 1991, and I spent about 8 years living there. My sister was also born in Dublin, and my parents who are both Gibraltarian, both living out there, and my dad was practicing as a doctor. So
that's your link.
Link, yeah.
You were never tempted to play for us, Jamie, were you?
I never got the call, unfortunately.
I've seen. I mean, Tom Cannon at the moment, you know, the Everton player, there's a bit of a tug of war between him. So, you know, if anyone is offended by someone from Liverpool wanting to play for England, we can't really blame you for wanting to play for Gibraltar, Jamie. So it's all good. You played a bit for Home Farm, did you? Is that right?
Yeah, I started out there, I think, when I was about 4 years old. Played for Home Farm, and then I ended up playing in the UK once I moved over to the Peterborough Academy when I was about 8. So I spent a year at the Peterborough Academy, a year at the Leicester Academy, and then we moved back over to Gibraltar when I was 10 years old.
So you join a long list of international footballers to come through the Home Farm Academy. So
yeah, they've got a nice list there. It's nice to be a part of that. Yeah,
a strong tradition. So Jamie, you finished up playing a couple of years ago. You were on the bench against Ireland, weren't you?
Yeah, I was on the bench for the first 2 games that we got drawn in our first qualifying group against Ireland. I got my first call up actually to play away at the Aviva when I was 22, and I was on the bench for that game, and then I was also on the bench for the return leg, which we played the year after in Faro in Portugal.
Yeah. The first game didn't go too well, did it? But we won't mention that, Jamie. It's probably,
to be honest, it was a change of manager, and it was a different regime to what it was recently and what it is now. So I think you'll probably expect something slightly different from the Gibraltar team on Monday.
Yeah, it's only because you didn't start. That's why it was. It didn't go as well. It didn't go as well. So tell us a little bit about the Gibraltar team at the moment. So you're a Uruguayan coach now, isn't it? Julio Cesar Ribas.
Yep. The Gibraltar team now, compared to what it was when you guys last played us, I think has improved defensively. We played against France on Friday night, and that was a good defensive display, good performance. He's been with the team for a few years now, and he has been kind of inputting his defensive philosophy into his style of play. So we do find, I think some teams do find it hard to break us down. Which I think if you look at the last 2 games we then played against Ireland when we had Rivas there, we lost 1-0 at home, which was a game that we could have maybe nicked something from. The conditions were a bit complicated. I remember watching it. And then we lost 2-0 at the Aviva, which if you compare to the first 2 games that we played against Ireland, which was a 7-0 and a 4-0, is a big improvement.
Very good.
We're looking to kind of go into the game, I think, and build on the defensive display against France the other day, and hopefully aim to frustrate. I know Ireland might be under a little bit of pressure based on the last performance against Greece, and the first 2 games, obviously 0 points. So you guys are going to have to put in a decent display at home, I think.
Absolutely. It'll take a lot to break you guys down, and some good results in recent times. I mean, back-to-back victories just in November. So, I mean, a huge improvement in recent times. And who would the star players be, Jamie? Because I know that like a lot of players kind of based in England have kind of come into the system, haven't they? I know Danny Higginbotham back in the day. Yeah, I know he kind of got a call up when he was kind of in his late 30s. It's a bit of an older squad, isn't it, Jamie? But who will be the standout men there?
I think the main man would be TJ DeBar. I think he's just recently renewed his contract with Wycombe Wanderers in League One. He was on the bench last night and came on for the last 30 minutes. I don't know if he had a knock before the game, but I'd expect him probably to start. He's usually our outlet up top. He holds the ball up well, and he runs the channels pretty well. So he would be the one to look out for. If there's any kind of threat or we create anything, it's probably going to be through him. Liam Walker's out injured. He hasn't made it into the squad for these games. He's usually got quite a decent delivery on set pieces, corners, free kicks, and so on. But in the midfield, I mean, we've got players like Louis Ansley as well, who's playing, I think, in Northern Ireland.
Yeah, he's with Dundalk at the moment, so a lot of fans will be very familiar with him.
Yeah, so it's quite a different squad to what it was when we started out, when we qualified through UEFA in 2013-14, when we last played you guys the first time round. So we do have quite a few players based in the UK that are now getting a bit more experience with those older players that are still there, like Roy Cipollina, who started out with us, who is always a bit of a threat from set pieces when we get the chance.
And how do you fancy your chances on Monday, Jamie? Would you think the guys would be fairly confident of a stubborn display? I mean, the last time you guys played in Dublin, we just scraped by you. So, as you said, an improving team. Will they be feeling quietly confident, especially with us at a low ebb?
I think it's about kind of staying in the game for as long as possible and trying to frustrate you guys. And obviously, your home support is gonna want a quick start from your team, given the last couple of results. So if we can kind of stay in the game and frustrate and play it in 15-minute periods where we slow the game down and we do the ugly things well, maybe we're in with a chance. Obviously, we're going there with no expectation to win, or our fans don't expect to win, but basing it on the performance that we gave against France last night, I think there's a bit of optimism, and the team will be in a positive mood. I've spoken to a few of the guys this morning, and they're on their way now, travelling that way to Dublin, and they're going to look to put in another decent performance.
And it must be a special one for you to watch with the Dublin link.
Yeah, no, I like doing that game. I'm on TV here in Gibraltar on Monday covering the game, and the local broadcaster, so I'll be down there
shouting for Ireland. Shouting for Ireland, yeah.
I'll have to wait to get my passport as well. I've applied to get it sorted to get dual nationality now because of Brexit and everything else. And,
you're dead right. You're dead right. But look, if you ever want a game for us, pop back and let us know. Jamie, an absolute pleasure. Thanks so much for your time, and enjoy the game on Monday.
Thank you very much. All the best.
Super.
Great interview that Nick did there. We played it on the preview show. That's obviously over on YouTube and Facebook. You want to have a look at that in case you want something to watch. We've already come out. The Irish players have just come out on the pitch there, training around, pinging the ball around. Hopefully they're going to be doing that tonight. Of course, we got you covered here in the Green Machine. We go to the games, we're out and about, and we try to find out from the opposition who we're playing against. And even though it's Gibraltar, you heard what he said there. They're going to be looking up to set up very, very defensively. They're quite disciplined. New coach, an Uruguayan guy. He has them well drilled, well organised. And you'd have to feel that we need to score 2 quick goals, put the crowd at ease, and then start to enjoy it. I think if it's the stage where we get to the half time, or 50, 60 minute mark, if it like San Marino a few years back, you'd be a bit worried, and the crowd would start to turn on the team a little bit. Hopefully that's not the case tonight, and we can do the business. As always, because when I used to live in Ireland, I used to love reading the man, Mr. Eamon Dunphy, and he still has his article in the Irish Daily Star. So when I come over, I always try to buy it. And you can see there, that's what he leads with, Eamon Dunphy. FAI bigwigs not equipped to make the call on Kenny. So, Mr. Dunphy has a lot to say for himself, as he does. He rips into the FAI here. He compares them to the RFU, and he describes the RFU as an organisation that runs its affairs efficiently, but you wouldn't let the FAI run a raffle. David Nusaforia, who's the kingmaker of the IRFU, that's who Amy Duff is referring to there, basically feels that the FAI do not have a similar person to do likewise, essentially. Nusaforia got an Andy Farn off of Joe Schmidt, and then stuck at him despite a poor start. And then, of course, you look at Ireland now, number 1 in the world, did great against New Zealand, one of the favourites for the World Cup coming up in September. France But he said even though the media were calling for his head, he stuck by his man, and now we're reaping the rewards. Duffy also tears it to Jonathan Hill, the CEO of the FAI, said it's an embarrassment that a man from a marketing background with the FA has not yet secured a deal for the men's national team. He says that the CEO's Twitter activities of going to games, putting up the odd little post here and there, is window dressing, and he goes even further by says, and this is a quote from Duffy, bullshit. He also doesn't like the fact that the FAI chairman, Roy Barrett, he says he's going to leave but hasn't yet. Doesn't like that he's involved still with key developments like the 837 million or 73, whatever it was, to the government. Basically, if he's going, he should be gone. He also says that the government shouldn't actually deal with the FAI, and nor should the fans. He also backs Kenny. Dumpy does. He says that the fans have voted with their feet, and that's why there's loads of tickets sold for tonight. Obviously, got to prefix that because, well, these tickets were sold well in advance, well before we knew what was going to happen in Athens, and it was part of a combination with the Dutch game. So you wanted to go to see Holland, you had to buy tickets for Gibraltar. So not quite on the money there. Eamon Dunphy. He also says that Kenny is a reformer, that he inherited nothing but has built a young team. He has a point there. There is a naivete to the man, according to Dunphy. He got it wrong in Athens, but the players have backed him. See? He also feels that the fans believe in the project. Well, I think we're going to find out tonight. Depends how tonight goes. That will be a measuring stick for that. But he also says he doesn't want to see someone like Robbie Keane, who is always linked with the job. Doesn't want to see someone like him involved because he doesn't have the pedigree for it. And he feels that someone like Nuciforia, the RFU kingmaker, wouldn't let him anywhere near the setup if he was in charge of the FAI. He'd actually stand by his man, and that's what he wants the FAI to do. He wants the FAI to stand by his man. Well, there's no one like that, which Duffy finds very, very worrying. Now, of course, a little bit of self-promotion. If you have bought one of these, if you haven't bought one, you need to buy one now. Because yours truly has written a lovely piece, fantastic piece. 35 years of infamy about Ireland's famous win over England at Euro 88. You can actually listen to the podcast of This Week Back in the Day, which is a companion piece to that article. Martin and I did it. This Week Back in the Day, available on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, all the usual places. It's really loud here, isn't it? So yeah, but page 19, lads. Where is it again? Page 19. If you see me, I'll even sign a copy for you. €7. Come on, €7. Moving on here. I think actually we're gonna pretty much leave it at that. We're coming up to the 20-minute mark, so I'm gonna go off. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, grab another coffee, and as I said, guys, I want to hear from you. Actually, I'm going to read out your comments now. But before I read out the comments, I want to hear from you guys. We will be live straight after the game, about 5 minutes or so. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Let's see what happens. David Curley on our YouTube channel. How you doing, David? Says, how about the under-21s? Think we'll be tournament material in a few years once we phase out the shite like McLean, Hendrick, O'Dowd's of this world. The thing is, David, we've always had talented players, but at underage level. But when it comes to senior level, because we don't have our own league, we're not masters of our own destiny. But we do, but we don't have one of the standard that it should be. We're basically never going to be masters of our own destiny. So it's very hard to see if they're going to make the next step. Kieran Boyle calls me legend. How are you doing, Kieran? He is over in Florida, as always. Brendan Kishan. Goodbye, Stephen Kenny, and also salam to Lee Brady. Yes, Brendan, Lee Brady, his last game for RT tonight. I actually bumped into Lee Brady. He was on Grafton Street. I said hello to him, and then his phone rang. I actually said, don't worry, Lee, I'm not going to bother you. Just want to say hello. And then I proceeded to bother him, because that's what you do. Dave McGuinness has to be very convincing tonight. Huge reaction, Dave McGuinness. So, are we back for round 2, Dave? I don't have Nick with me, so it's all right. You can say what you want with me around. But yes, you're right. It does have to be a massive performance, a massive turnaround. If we struggle, even if we struggle, or it's unconvincing, huge problems for the manager. Paul Culleton, how you doing, Paul, on a YouTube channel? Hoping for a convincing win. Fairly surprised Shane McGrath starting. Yep, there's a lot of negative comments about him. Jamie McGrath. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Kieran Boyle, Florida checking in. Away to Jason with the story. Yeah, I was looking at the shirts there yesterday in the shop. Nah, not for me. Donald McQuillan, you earn respect. Look lonely there. Thank you, Donnell. Yes, it is. I've nobody, just me. I was in the ground 3 hours early. Before everyone else, actually. All the journalists now are starting to arrive, so it should be interesting. Brian Farrell, no, it's a fact. First one to actually say it. We're out of our second campaign again. Staunton and Kerr only got one, referring to the clip I played earlier of Phil O'Quinn. Aaron Murphy, 75-1 for Gibraltar win. Not a bad shout, to be fair. No Fox, McGrath, ... I know, no. I don't know what he sees, no, but. James Madden, how you doing, James, on YouTube? Phil O'Quinn, bang on. Stephen Kenny out of his depth. Desperate glance to the press officer looking for reassurance. It was very uncomfortable, James. It was very uncomfortable. Billy M. Coyle, Aaron Murphy, that's well worth a fiver. Going back to Aaron Murphy, 75-1 shot there. Scrape Farrell, still though, come on the boys agree. Yeah, come on the boys agree. Come on, we got to get behind the team. Paul Brown, only a matter of time now before Stephen Kenny goes. A big 4-goal win with a performance. Won't even stall this from happening. I am a Stephen Kenny supporter, but the performances have been too poor now to justify. Kieran Boyle, bottom line now, nobody thinks Kenny will be around for long regardless of results. So you call, he wasn't even mentioned in the FAI strategic plan. No mention of name anywhere. Hill doesn't rate him. There's no sure sponsor because of results. And Kenny, he's over his head. Time to move on to Jesus and take a story with him. It's shite. McGrath starting is worrying from Colin McSubnett. Absolutely agree with you there. Guys, thank you so much for the comments. We are going to be back after the game, about 5 or so minutes. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Hopefully, a convincing win and we can move on, but who knows. But do join us afterwards. Oh, we want to hear from you. We always want to hear from you guys. We try to be the voice of the fans, as if we try to get your voice out there because, you know, Irish fans should have a voice in this. For too long we've been suppressed. And here we are. And just one last one, actually. Well, a couple of last ones. Declan Quinn. Unfortunately, Stephen has to go. And Dave McKinnon, this is the last comment. The press conference was pathetic. Journalists are fully within the right to ask the questions. His media performance have gotten gradually worse. Fair point. Anyway, guys, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much. We will be back straight after the final whistle, about 5 or so minutes. We want to hear from you. Join us on our Facebook channel and join us on YouTube. Enjoy the game.